Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Let's take a look at the short-term bullish and short-term bearish scenarios for ETH today here on the 1 hour time frame. Seems like ETH is in anticipation mode. There have obviously been rumors around ETF approval for Bitcoin, maybe even Ethereum, and I think between now and the 10th of January we should know more. So I warned already in the Bitcoin video, just prepare for additional volatility in the coming days. Don't be surprised if we see some distortions, maybe crazy movements, and that could go in both directions. Short-term fluctuations, bot trading, stops triggered, stuff like that. Just be aware of that and be maybe a little bit careful out there. Trading safely always has to be the top priority. Now, looking at this structure, let's start with the short-term bearish scenario. Note, however, that both are short-term bearish and short-term bullish. They're both part of an overall bullish scenario. If you're interested in the daily time frame, check out my last video. I took a look at the daily time frame as well for you. Now, let's start with that short-term bearish scenario highlighted in white. In this scenario, the market has formed the wave 1 on the 9th of December. That's the same for all of these scenarios we're looking at. After this 9th of December high, the market trended down in 3 waves, which I call a wave W. The market then rallied in 3 waves, which I call a wave X. And the market is now coming down in a 3-wave move, which is a wave Y. 333, it's a WXY pattern. It could also be an A, B, C. Would it make a difference? Well, just in terms of how the move to the downside is structured, instead of an A, B, C, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Main reason I have opted for the WXY, well, it's mainly because the B wave here is very high. If it was an A, B, C, then this would be a 1, 2 setup, yeah. And the wave 2 came very high for a wave 2. B waves, I would tolerate that a bit more because they are more flexible. But essentially also this move down looks like a 3-wave move to me. So essentially it could be both ABC or WXY. Doesn't matter, not in the short term, okay? But in this scenario, the conditions are that the price does not exceed anymore the high that was formed on Tuesday here at around $2,432. And we would need to see the price break below 2,345 next. Only then really we can suggest that the C wave is unfolding. And then with a break below 2,264, it would be confirmed. And then as possible targets, from what I can see now, I'd be watching the white box first between 1994 and then also $2,156. This is the short-term bearish scenario in which wave 2 is still unfolding. I give it decent probabilities, but it's a big mess. This entire structure is. Not the short-term bearish scenario, itself. It's the entire structure is just a mess. Now in the short-term bullish scenario, the wave 2 already bottomed here on the 18th of December. Now again, there are some charts that show the low here, which again increases the difficulty to read this chart. But I'm on Binance, so let's go with this one. The idea is that the market already formed a WXY structure here, finished the wave 2. Problem with that scenario, it's a very shallow wave 2, unusually shallow, and the move to the upside afterwards wasn't really aggressive. It would have to be a 3rd wave, and to be honest, for a 3rd wave, it's not really aggressive enough. Not yet, at least. Not aggressive enough to really, confirm this scenario. Now, there is, of course, a bullish structure available, and we would call this a wave 1 in a leading diagonal, a wave 2 to the downside, and another 1-2 setup. Two problems here as well. First of all, it starts with a leading diagonal. Never a great start from a probabilities point of view. Then the second wave 1, which is lower degree, is basically the same length as this wave 1. Again, looks more like an ABC structure, okay? But okay, valid, Therefore we put it on the chart, but with the lower probabilities. I gave you for this scenario, for anybody who wanted to play it, a support zone. The price perfectly respected the Fibonacci levels, rallied, but now we're basically at this decision point, because also here now I would need to see 5 waves up to confirm this pattern further, ideally with a break above the yellow circle wave 1 at 2448. This yellow count, which would lead to a more direct breakout eventually into the region 2630 plus, would need to hold ideally above 2345, or it will lose its probabilities or reduce. And I want to see a break above circle wave 1 high. Okay, so those are the two scenarios we're watching for. I slightly prefer the white scenario, but also here it's getting tested and challenged. Market hasn't really revealed its true intentions yet, so we still have to be careful. My understanding is that the market really doesn't know itself what it wants to do, basically in anticipation mode, waiting and watching for that SEC announcement about the ETFs. Yeah? So, but the levels are very clear. We have levels to watch, and they should guide us further. I think this week we should know more. That's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.